Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As always, please like and subscribe if these videos are helpful. Trying to grow this channel into something larger because it's kind of fun and it keeps me motivated to keep biking and upgrade, so any support is appreciated. So I just wanted to give an update on Project Rockhopper here. My last video was back in early October, I believe, and since then I've done a couple of things, nothing too major, but I thought I'd give a quick update just because I got some things brewing and I thought it'd be worth a video. So last time we talked, I had just upgraded this old Rockhopper. This is from like 2008, used to be a 3x8, and I decided to upgrade this to a 1x11 drivetrain. It's a DHRII. Not going to go into too much detail because I did in the last video, but this drivetrain is awesome, super smooth. It seems like it can really take a beating, so I can see how it gets its reputation. I've driven this bike through all conditions pretty much since my last video, and the drivetrain is just rock solid. So very happy with it so far, highly recommend it. Again, this is not the latest and greatest XT, it's one generation prior, but still have a lot of good things to say, and I know you can still get these older XT drivetrains. So if you're looking for a little bit of a discount over the latest and greatest, it's still worth the money in my opinion. That said, just to recap the kind of the drivetrain story, when I put that XT order together, I think I had to order from like 5 different websites, so it was kind of complicated due to all the supply issues with bikes and bike parts due to COVID, but it was kind of fun to try to piece it all together, and it came together real good. So worthwhile upgrade. Moving on from the drivetrain, the other upgrade I had done back then at the same time was the DHRII RockShox suspension. This is just a 100mm of travel, so nothing crazy. That's, you know, the same travel as the original suspension on the bike, so I figured to stick with that. It's been great. It's definitely much softer than the old suspension that I had. No complaints. I think that for a hardtail, this thing rides pretty nice. You know, there's certainly some times where I wish I had a dual suspension, but for, you know, a 12-year-old bike, I think the suspension really has helped out to make it more enjoyable. And you know, really easy to adjust the air suspension. I got an air suspension pump. You definitely will lose air over time in cold conditions and things like that, so you got to keep an eye on it. But yeah, no issues with the suspension. The lockout works great, and you know, definitely rides nicer than what I had originally. Not hard to beat, but still worth noting. So the latest update from the last video is I added these Maxxis tires. Now this is a 26-inch bike, so these are 26-inch by 2x3 tires. I did a lot of research on them, and you know, probably no surprise to a lot of you, I went with the Minion, you know, rear and the front, so the DHF up front and the DHRII in the back. And yeah, not much to say other than these totally live up to the hype. These tires are pretty incredible. I was a little bit unsure of what size to get for this bike because I was slightly worried about fitment. But I decided to try the 2.3 inch and it works great. Still have a little bit of room to breathe, and you know, bigger is better in this case, so decided to do the 2.3, and I'm glad I did. The original stock tires, the specialized tires, were just 2.0, so I got a little bit more coverage area, and very happy about that. But yeah, the main thing to say about these tires is the traction is incredible. Obviously best in the dry, but they have handled really well, surprisingly, in wet conditions, and also even in hard packed snow and rough ice. I've had this bike out on the trails a handful of times where kind of was wishing I had a fat bike, but the conditions were right when I went out, and although I couldn't go as fast as I would during the spring or summertime or the fall, it allowed me to get back on the trails. So props to the Minions for keeping me in action, and still would like to get a fat bike at some point, but in the meantime, it's nice to have a tire that can kind of handle most conditions. I will say that in the soft, fluffy snow, they're not good at all, and even in some mud situations, they're kind of rough. But that's to be expected. Otherwise, I would highly recommend these tires. I know Maxxis makes a ton of different tires. I just had to try these because there were so many good reviews, and it's been well worth it. Again, I will say that ordering was kind of a challenge. Trying to find both of these tires in a 26-inch was not easy, and I think I had to do 2 separate Amazon orders from 2 different places to get them, and inventory was low and things like that, but luckily I got them in. And really easy to install, so no complaints there. I'll give you a close-up here of the badging just so you know which ones I got. These are the tubeless ready. You got the EXO protection, the Maxxterra, and the 3C. There's quite a few different flavors out there of all these Maxxis tires, so I believe these are about the best you can get, at least in the 26-inch. So, really good tread on these guys. Sorry the bike's filthy, but I'm using it. And you can see I still got some room here. Pretty cool considering this is a 12-year-old bike to be able to put these really nice tires on there, because they kind of transform the whole bike. So that's the latest update. But the news here is the weather is crazy here in Chicagoland. We're getting so much snow, and it's been freezing. So the next upgrade is I'm going to try out some studded tires. I just got the studded tires in this week, and so I'm going to swap out the tires for those studs, and try to get a month or 2 of use out of them while we've got this very inclement weather. And my ultimate plan is to actually order a second set of wheels. These wheels, they're good, they're fine, they're not super light. I'd like to try to find some lighter weight wheels and just build a secondary wheel set to have as a spare. That way the tire swaps are much easier. So I'm looking at building different wheel set here and getting that on. That way in the spring I can just swap back to the Maxxis tires and get back in the game for the warm weather. So yeah, I'm going to get those installed and get out there in the trails and hopefully not crash on the ice and snow. Then I will post an update about how those studded tires do on this 12-year-old rock hopper. But thanks for stopping by again. Please leave any comments if you have questions about this project. I'm very curious to see what other folks have done to their old bikes while we've been in this interesting time of very low bike inventory. I'm going to try and get a dual suspension probably in the next 3 to 6 months. I haven't quite decided on which bike I want yet, but I'm going to keep this baby around. You know, I think there's definitely plenty of reasons to have two bikes for kind of different conditions and two different scenarios. So planning to keep this guy. It's been really fun to build it up, and it's a great bike. I'd say, yeah, you spend a little bit more to do upgrades like this on an old bike, but if you're attached at all to your old bike, there's something to be said about, you know, showing it some love, and you know, it's not that much more money to spec it out cool. And you know, some of these parts you would need to spend like 3 times as much to get, you know, these same parts on your bike. You know, like that Reba fork and the XT drivetrain and these tires. Like, to get this stock, you would have to spend quite a few thousand. And so it's kind of fun to just put some of the best stuff on an old bike and see what it can do. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. Please subscribe if you can, and we'll see you next time.